Hey guys. So I wake up this morning, and every morning I kind of just check my email. I'm not on Facebook a whole lot, but I'll usually go on there, see if anybody messaged me or something like that. But I go on, and first thing I see on my feed is something from one of my buddies, and he's talking about Zoran Momdani getting elected in New York. And yeah, I go to his page, and he's got a couple posts about this, and it's funny to me because he's on the right, but he doesn't live in New York. So I'm like, dude, what the fuck do you care if a bunch of people in New York decided that they wanted to vote this guy in? And he's talking about how, oh, he's Islamic and he's a communist and blah blah blah. It's like, all right, like first of all, like honestly, if you're on the right, like one of the last things you need to be worried about right now is the mayor of New York being Islamic. Like, there's tons of Islamic people in this country. Like, it's it's only a matter of time until one of them gets elected into an office somewhere. It's already happened, honestly. Um, you know, I, yeah, you already have people like Ilhan Omar in Congress, and it's like, come on, man, this isn't anything new, and there's bigger fish to fry. Like as far as him being a communist, like he's just the mayor, man. There's only so many things that he can actually do. Chances are it's this guy's just going to be another like AOC thing where they're a communist, they're a socialist, or they believe in communist socialist policies. But as soon as they're in the position where they've got some money, they've got some power, like this guy's probably, I would say 90% chance this guy's probably just going to end up just like every other person that gets elected in our country. They get a little bit of money, they get a little bit of power, and really they're just concerned about keeping it. They're going to fall in line with the parties that they're affiliated with, like they always do, to try and keep the gravy train rolling for themselves. So, if you're worried about New York becoming the Soviet Union, I don't think you have much to worry about. But all that aside, my buddy and his friends arguing about this on Facebook, it's like, all right, bro, you live in fucking California. You live in fucking Portland. Like, dude, neither of you are New Yorkers. Like, what do you fucking care if New Yorkers elect this guy? It's not going to affect you. And I just don't see the point. It just distracts from so many more important things. Like I've been seeing, I look at Fox News, I look at MSNBC, I look at CNN. I try to get my news from like different sources, and all of them are talking about fucking Momdani, and all of them have been talking about him for like weeks. And it's like, dude, this is ridiculous. Like most of the people going and getting their news from these outlets are, you know, zeroing in on this issue that means almost nothing to them. But I guess it's just illustrative of how easily people can become distracted. And I think that's probably, you know, deliberate on the part of the people that are in charge of a lot of these networks. Um, it's if we look at the reasons that Momdani was elected, these are reasons that many people face to some degree in every part of the country. We have young people who can't find decent paying jobs, regardless of their education. And it's not just a matter of the, you know, working some shitty job so you can save up some money or build up some qualifications to get a new one. It's like even those shitty jobs are getting harder and harder to get for a lot of these young people. It's like you're to the point where you have these kids, they have to intersperse like certain keywords in their fucking resumes, in their cover letters to try and get it past an AI hiring assistant. You know, mom and pop businesses are using AI hiring assistants to bring people in. Or maybe not mom and pop, but you know, smaller businesses, not the major chains. You know, where they even still exist. It's just getting tough for people out there. You know, a lot of people are locked into buying their groceries from Walmart now because they can't afford to go to a regular grocery store. You know, I have two regular grocery stores pretty close to where I live, and I have a Walmart that's probably, you know, maybe like half hour, 45 minutes away. It is significantly cheaper to buy my groceries at that Walmart than it is at those regular grocery stores. Like, you know, groceries, you know, inflation, like costs going up, like that's a fucking real thing. And, you know, when you're young, I mean, there's only so much ramen you can eat. Like, even ramen's more expensive than it was when I was their age. So, you know, you got a lot of them are drowning in debt. You know, most recently, I guess, from what I've been reading, you know, more people are um, not paying off their student loans anymore. You know, there's a lot of people like repossessions on cars are going up. People are having a lot of trouble getting by. And, you know, the mayor of New York, who's getting elected in New York, really doesn't have any bearing on the reasons for that. You know, the system we're in isn't working. So are you fucking surprised when a bunch of young people who the system isn't working for decide that they want to vote for somebody that says, yeah, that system's fucked up and we're going to try something different, even if it's not in their power to actually do the things that they're saying that they can do? Um, that's neither here nor there. But is it a surprise? Like, rather than sitting here talking about like, oh, this guy is an Islamist and oh, he's a communist and he's a socialist and it's so bad and this blah blah. Well, fucking, you know, it's already pretty fucking bad for a lot of people out there. What are you doing to fix it? Yeah. Well, in any case, I'm rambling enough. I'm going off topic. Bottom line is this: if you live in New York, I mean, I hope things work out well for you. I don't know how it's going to turn out with this new guy that got elected, but overwhelmingly, it was young people that put him in office. You think Cuomo was going to do something for those people? Do you think that was going to turn things around for them? If you're not in New York, you should look at what happened there, realize why it happened. And if you don't want it to happen in the city that you live in or in the state that you live in, maybe we start addressing some of the core issues that are kind of making things difficult for young people in this country. Because if we don't start addressing those core issues, somebody's going to come along with an attractive message and maybe not the best of intentions, and they're probably going to get elected, guys. Anyhow, um, get yourselves a dog. You know, your dog's never going to post a bunch of bullshit on Facebook arguing about shit that doesn't affect him. Your dog's going to be there, hang out with you when you're chatting to a phone in a car. So have a good one, guys. Hang in there. Things are getting rough. Probably going to get a little bit rougher, but you know, soldier on. Put your head down. Push the cart. Later.